Hey, how's it going, boys and girls? Brad the I gotta stop saying that. Brad the Fixologist here. Welcome to our latest in this series on this John Deere riding mower that I got off the curb for free on trash day. If you have not seen all of the videos that have led up to this so far, you can click in one of these corners here. I'll put a link to a playlist where you can watch everything that's happened up till now. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, I have failing light, so I have very limited time to show you this. I'm going to pull that tire off, change it out with a new one, and I'm going to try to do it on that right there. So that tire is still holding the air. That's the good one out of the two, so I'm going to try to use it as a spare. I'll keep it. Okay. Break the bead. Broke the bottom one. And there's the top one. Okay. Okay, now that the rim is off, we're gonna clean up the bead. All right, that's better. The little spot right there is a bit iffy. Alright, now we'll replace the valve stem. Okay, we're just going to cut this old one out. Just like that. Also want to clean up the hole for the valve stem. Okay, here's a little setup I rigged for the valve stems to install those. It's just basically a long bolt on a nut, and screw this end in as far as I can get it. It's only a couple threads deep, but that's okay. You put the valve stem into there, and then you screw the screw on. It's got a nut on it, and I'm going to lubricate it a little bit.
just pull. Preferably without breaking anything. Ah, there we go. That got it. I just had to get it at the right angle. Okay, now to get the tire. This is the hard part. Oh man, it's close. It's close. There we go. Whew. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, this step is crucial. I struggled with the last one forever before I figured out to use the vice grips on one spot. That way basically you save your progress. Almost. There she is. She's on there. Let's air it up. Okay, one step closer to being finished. Man, these Canadian wildfires and all this rain is sure making for some pretty sunsets. Look at this. Okay, so I got my belt set in. There is a John Deere tractor dealership close by, and they are able to order these and get them overnight, so that's what I had them do. And it was no extra freight charge either on this one, so that's cool. We're gonna get those on today and see if we can't move this thing. Sick of it sitting here under pavilion rather than mowing all of this grass, which is getting pretty high. But before we can do anything else, the transmission is going to have to drop out of this. The whole rear end is going to have to come out. So I think what I've got to do is get this rear end up on a block so I can get my tires off, and then the transmission unbolts with a couple of bolts on each side. I think those two over here and then two over here, if I'm not mistaken, should unbolt it from the chassis. And I'm gonna have to drop it out, and there's a couple reasons why. One, in the last video I made, I thought that the pulley that was frozen had freed up when I unscrewed the little belt guard, but that wasn't the case. The actual case was the whole pulley was spinning with the bearing, so the bearing was frozen to the pulley. So we're gonna have to figure out why the bearing's frozen to the pulley, see if we can fix that pulley. It also had a dent in it, like somebody had tried to bang it free in the past. So we gotta address that, and we can't get to it without dropping the rear end. Also, the brakes don't work. So the brakes are actually part of the rear end assembly, and in order to address that, you have to get that off anyway. So we got to address two problems, and the only solution for that is to drop the rear end. So okay, I got both of those bolts undone. There's also there's an electrical connection too that goes to the transmission that you have to undo down there. There's a nice breeze out here today, at least. It's still hot, but nice breeze. Alright, it is dropping. So maybe we don't have any more things holding it. Oh, I know what that was. That was that belt tensioner slamming into place. Oh, we have the brake linkage holding it. Okay, this piece right here, this is what holds the brake linkage on, and it attaches on either side of this. Ooh, got my first cut of the day as well. Nice. There's another linkage. Shit. I think this is going to be the accelerator linkage right here. You see it comes up and over. You see how that retainer thing is on there. The belt one was the same. The one for the brake, rather, was the same. So it goes on either side of the bar. It goes on either side of this. And up and over this, so it comes off like this. You pull it towards you, right? I may have to give it a little bit of a tug, but I'll get it off there. Okay, see the bearing right here? I'm going to see if I can bring this back to life, but I kind of doubt it. I'm going to take it off here regardless. There is a, you can see these fins on this thing. This little retainer, this belt retainer right here has a little notch in it. It has to go onto that fin like that when you put it back together. But you can see right there the whole bearing is moving along with the pulley. So that is not right. This, you know, shouldn't, when this moves, shouldn't this move? Shouldn't this all move? But maybe it has to be in here. That side moves. Okay, so it's supplying power to the wheels independently. So it is working. I think it's working fine. Boom, if I grab this one, now the other one works. So it distributes power to the wheels. Alright, so we're fine. So like if one is getting stuck, it'll divert power to the other wheel. So it constantly, okay, that's a great thing. So that's working properly. I want to spray this off. This is nasty. Look at my hands. You know what I didn't do? I didn't take my own advice. When you turn a piece of machinery like this on, and it has a gas valve, go ahead and turn the gas valve on and let the gas run out of the carb. Because something like this that's going to sit for a while, you need all that gas out of the carb so it doesn't just sit there. So we'll let that run out and that'll shut itself off. Goodness sake, man. That's a ton of gas in the carb on this. Yeah, see, that's instead of just turning it off and leaving the gas line on, if you've got a machine like this and you don't know when the next time you're going to use it is, go ahead and run the gas out of the carb to let it turn itself off. Yeah, so this was also a curb pick. But it wasn't like me driving by a curb pick. They had it set on the curb, but they also put a notice up on like Facebook Marketplace. And it was like, you know, free, and it was only a few blocks away, so I ran over there and grabbed it. Home light, 2700 psi with a Subaru engine. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll take that, you know. All right, so that's pretty well clean now. We're going to let that dry. Obviously, I may go ahead and blow it off some. But I'm going to, I don't think I'm going to crack, am I going to crack this open? You know, these are greased from the factory, but am I going to crack this thing open and grease it? As soon as I crack it open, it's probably going to be a minefield in there, so I would say probably no. Probably no. I think I'm just going to take apart the pulley and the brake. Okay, I have to remember how this went back together. It's got a spacer coming up to this part like that. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can drive this bearing out of this pulley and get a better look at it. It is a sealed bearing, but I can open this bearing and maybe re-grease it. If I can open it and re-grease it, that's what I'll do. Alright, well that part's out. Okay, the bearing is frozen. The shaft was what was moving. The bearing is frozen solid. Frozen solid. Yeah, that stuff is frozen. Which side it's supposed to come out of? It's hard to tell. Maybe it's press fit in there. I think it might be just time for a new pulley. What do you think? This pulley's looking real shoddy. Even if we get the bearing working, you know, the pulley is just, look at it. It's warped everywhere. Yeah, man, that. Okay, so and you can see here that's not turning. It's turning like maybe a millimeter or less, and then binding up. And I don't think I'm going to be able to even drive that thing out of. I think. And look, the pulley is just beaten to hell. So, shit. You know, I hate to say it, but I think there goes the weekend. Because obviously I don't have that on hand. What to do? I wonder if that pulley on that is the same as this. And if it is, what I could probably do at least is get that off of there and use it on this. No, it's not. It's not. It looks like it might work, but it's not, because that's a V-belt, and this is specifically for a drive belt. With how bent this is, yeah, man, it's no wonder that's like that. So I'm gonna need that pulley right there.
All right, guys, like I said, yeah, this is pretty much gonna blow my weekend, this pulley being out on this thing. Completely seized bearing, can't knock the bearing out. I did get the little seals off of the bearings, but as you can probably see here when I try to turn it, they still will not move. I sprayed WD-40 all in there, but it looks like those bearings are kind of crushed to me. Like they're flattened out, so I don't know what the hell happened to this thing. Maybe they're not flattened out, but it definitely has taken some wax, and it's not in good shape at all. So this thing has to be replaced. Unfortunately, this is a $50 pulley. And you cannot substitute it with anything else. There is nothing aftermarket. I looked and looked and looked all over the place for this thing, man, aftermarket, and it just does not seem to exist. I did find some good documentation on this Weingart's lawn care website. I'll put up a screenshot here so you can see. They have a nice bunch of diagrams and stuff for these models. Their diagrams is actually for an SX95, but it is the same as the RX95. It looks the exact same parts and everything. Same Tecumseh Transaxle, at least in this, for this particular part. The part number for John Deere for this thing is Alpha Mary 104020, and yeah, they want $57.99 for this. I was able to find it. I made an offer for a seller on eBay and got it shipped for $46, but that's as cheap as I was able to find this thing. Expensive little booger. That brings me to the grand total so far for this this rebuild, this restoration on this mower. this free mower. All right, you ready for this? So here's the rundown. I bought a key for $3.13, hubcaps for $10.15, a snap ring to put the wheel on for $5.24. The starter was $60.41. I thought I was going to be able to send that starter back, but my rebuilt starter has since started acting up again, so I had to pull it off, and I thought to myself, hell with it, I'm not taking the starter on and off anymore. I've already done it a couple times shimming it, so I was just done with it at that point. I just put the new starter on. I'm going to bite the bullet on that one. A deck belt for $15.41. Brake pedal pad, that's that rubber piece that goes on the brake pedal, for $10.07. A gas cap for $10.59. Idler pulley, that's this guy, $46. My drive belts cost me $52.85. $12 in oil. I'm going to go ahead and count those consumables. Fuel line, $5.44. I have not put that on yet. The old fuel line is actually in decent shape, so I'm going to let that roll until it starts developing maybe cracks or leaks. It's not leaking actually as it is right now in place, so I'm not going to bother with that. But we do have some online for the future. I bought some grease for $6.49. The battery was $42.99. I spent about $20 in paint. So that's it's right at $300. I think it's $300 and like 77 cents if you total it up, something like that. Right at 300 bucks. But I did get $120 off for all those battery cores, so that brings my total down to about 180 bucks. Still way more than I wanted to spend on a free mower, but this is something that, you know, the experience is making it so that I will know how to service this thing in the future. Anything that goes wrong with it, I'm pretty much going to know it inside and out now, so I'm not going to be afraid to get up under there and repair what needs to be repaired. And I'll probably have a good idea of what's wrong with it if something does go wrong. So it does have that going for it in terms of you know, long-term attachment to a piece of equipment. You know, it's mine. I've restored it. I'm going to use it on my yards. And, you know, I look forward to hopefully keeping it for a long, long time. And this should be the penultimate episode. Stay tuned for the next one, which will hopefully wrap all this thing up in a nice little bow, and we'll get out there and do some mowing with it after we get this new pulley on and get the transaxle fitted back underneath the mower. So stick around for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. And for now, we will see y'all later.